Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Talking Art. With me is my beautiful co-host, Tammy. Hi, Tammy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm wonderful. So what happened with you last week?
With me last week?
Yeah, we all missed you.
I know. I'm so sorry. I was stuck in the grinds of flu zone.
Well, I'm glad
I
you're way over there.
apologize. I apologize, but my patients needed me.
I think that comes before an HOA any day.
I tried, but they wouldn't stop coming in.
That's sad. And also with us today is Marianne Morris. Hi, Marianne.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Is that one of the jazz pieces behind you?
Yeah, it is. Can you see that?
I can see the lower part of it, the lower half of it. That is gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
That's so pretty. And we've already had a comment on the comment trackers. I do have the comment trackers open. So, stop by, say hi. I do a shout out for you. Leave us a comment, ask Marianne a question. Jim Alt has said, I really like the jazz theme artwork and the step-by-step that Marianne shows on her feature site. Looking forward to getting to know her.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's awesome. Here, I'm going to clap that one.
Don't expect me to do anything just as mundane as clap. I'm going to, yay!
I need to screenshot that picture.
No. So while we're all laughing, I'll tell you my funny story. So yesterday I decided for the first time I was going to get my camera out. The first time of 2015. It's freezing cold outside. And for me, I know, Marianne, this is going to sound mild to you, but it was like 17. It was cold. And the snow had fallen and landed on a bells I have outside. So I was trying to take pictures of it. A wind chime. Got all these great pictures, I thought, and I thought this last one's going to be super duper, and I go to open up the camera and look at it, and I had forgotten to put my card in my camera. So I spent 30 minutes on there freezing.
Ow. That's got to hurt you.
Yeah.
Did you go back out?
I knew once I went back in, that was it. I was not going to keep back up.
Moment's over.
I'll have to wait till next snowfall, and hopefully it'll, hit somewhat similar to that.
Oh, I know. I've done that too. That's a bummer, especially when you know you got a good shot and you can't wait to go back in there and get it. Look at it.
So, Marianne, have you ever done anything like that?
With my camera? My son quite regularly fills up my SD card. It's been misplaced a few times, left at friends' houses, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I could so see that.
Done that too.
Not being a photographer though, I only have one. So, when it's gone, it's kind of gone. I got to go and get it.
Yeah.
I need my SD card back now.
So what do you do? I mean, for me, okay, now I'm going to have to wait for the snow to fall. And what do you do if you mess up on an acrylic painting? Or is there any such a thing as totally messing up when you're working with your acrylics?
I don't think so. Acrylic's pretty forgiving. I just paint over it. Doesn't work, I just paint over it. It's not that big a deal.
Now that's awesome.
Sometimes it takes me a while to realize that I've screwed it up. I have to look at it for a couple days before I realize that it just doesn't work. And I go back and paint over it. But
Yeah, but even that's going to be kind of a little bit painful because, I mean, all the work you've put into it before you get to the paint over point.
yeah, and sometimes you can't paint over just one little section. You've got to paint over stuff that you do like to get out the stuff that you don't like. So sometimes that's kind of hard, but it's better than just not liking it and leaving it with that bit that drives me crazy.
So when you did the jazz series that you've shared with us and that we have in the trailer, did you listen to jazz music the whole time?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's quite an extensive series. I think I've got about 40 pieces altogether. And yeah, I spent a lot of time at the library going through. You could take CDs and stuff out at the library here. And I got all kinds of stuff I'd never heard before. It was really fun.
I imagine.
Learned a lot about music.
So, Tammy, do you have any questions?
Well, I was kind of interested to see, I guess, did you, when you decided to do that series, you went to the library to try to get some inspiration, or, you know, when you come up with a theme, what's your inspiration, or, you know, what gets you inspired by that?
Well, when I first started, my son plays guitar, and he was accepted into an art school.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a bunch of jazz bands at the school, and twice a year they have a big performance, and you go and you sit and you listen to all these kids play this fantastic music. So, you know, after sitting through a couple of those concerts, I was pretty ready to go.
That's awesome.
It is.
When you sat down to do a piece, do you have something already in your head, or how do you come up with that? I have no experience in painting, so.
Well, I've always done figurative work, so my work's pretty much always been people. Depending on where I was at in my life, it's different. Some of it's a little darker stuff, but I wanted these to be happy pieces and uplifting, and you know, like the music, kind of fun and experimental. And so I just got my hands in, rolled up my sleeves, and right up to my elbows.
Well, you did a fabulous job. I'm just blown away by your work. I think it's just so amazing. And I like it because it's unique. You know, it's not, you don't see that. It catches your eye. And
It definitely does that. I know I was sitting there going, when I first discovered your work, and I'm going through your site going, wow. And then I'm thinking, okay, I've been blown away. Well, wait a minute. Wow, that one blows me away even more.
That's exactly what I did. I was like, this is off the chain. This is awesome. Really brilliant work. Love it.
Well, Jim has a question for you. He says, do you paint faster if the jazz tempo is faster?
Ooh.
Yeah, I do tend to. It's funny. I definitely get it right from the music. A lot of the background color, I just put it on, sometimes even with the tubes or with my hands or with whatever I happen to have handy. I've made some interesting tools with stuff that I found at the dollar store, the hardware store, like stuff that I wouldn't, you know, that it wouldn't necessarily be in a painter's toolbox, but make really neat marks. So.
Well, I know that I will use like a credit card or an old key card from a hotel room.
Yeah, those work great. They're good for scraping.
Yeah.
You know the squeegees that you can get for the shower? It's a silicone, so the paint doesn't stick to it. So they're great for doing big areas, and then they cut really easily because they're silicone, so you can cut patterns into the silicone and use it as like a texturing tool.
That's an interesting idea. Let's try that.
Yeah, you can get some great stuff at the dollar store.
Well, yeah, I've had fun with even such crazy things as an onion skim bag. You know, the bags that onions come in when you buy a bunch?
Yep.
I've used those. Dryer sheets I've used.
Dryer sheets? Yeah, you get a really neat texture from the dryer sheets.
Wow, who knew?
Yeah, that's the great thing about painting. You can use pretty much anything. as long as it doesn't interact. Like you can't use oil and acrylic together because the acrylic will just fall off, right? It'll peel off.
Right.
Oh.
So
But I've used, you can paint oil over acrylic, so I've done an
It's not-
acrylic background and then used oil pastels over the top of that.
yeah. But if you paint acrylic over the oil pastels, it'll scrape off. If you accidentally nick it, it'll just, color will scratch off. That can be a really neat effect if that's what you're going for, but you got to know that's what you're going to get. So it's play, right? You got to play and figure it out what's going to work and what's not going to work. That's the fun part.
It is. It's a lot of fun to play with it. And Marianne is a graduate from which university?
Waterloo. It's in Ontario. University of Waterloo.
And you've got your degree in fine art?
Yeah. From a long time ago.
You know,
Long time ago.
it was so sad when we were first talking and you told me the story about why, you know, how you felt after graduating. Would you mind sharing that story? You know, how you put your paint aside?
Yeah. In art school, you go through and in every class you get critiques, and sometimes during your process, while you're working up a painting, and then sometimes just at the end. And I found that there was one person that I went through school with the whole time, and for some reason he just didn't like me. And every single critique, he would just rip me to shreds. He was like, it felt personal, you know? Like now as an adult, I wouldn't take it personally, but I was 19 years old, 19, 20, 21. I didn't have a very thick skin, and my confidence, by the time I graduated, I just didn't feel like I could do it. You know, it's a tough, competitive world.
It is, and you definitely.
It's very tough, and I just didn't think I had it in me. So I put everything aside, and I got a job. I got a job working on the computer, doing graphics, right? Because I could draw, and I could put my skills to use somewhat. And I didn't touch it again, probably for about 15 years.
And what got you where you would actually, you know, go back toward an art career again? What got you playing with your paints again?
My son. It's amazing what having a toddler in the house will do. You just, especially an only child, I only had one, so he wanted to paint. I was his playmate. So he wanted to paint, we painted. He wanted to color, we colored. And it was fun. I remembered how much I loved it. So it got me going, and once I got going, I just, that was that. I was there.
Hooked again?
Hooked, yeah, completely.
What is the hardest thing of trying to manage an art career to you?
Time. Time is tough because I have a full-time job. Art doesn't pay a whole lot, and so I work 40 hours a week, and then I come home and I've got other stuff, right? I've got laundry and cooking and grocery shopping and that kind of stuff. My husband is fantastic. He really does a lot of the stuff, the household stuff, so that I can pursue this. I have to submit to galleries and jury shows and art fairs, and not an art fair, you know, I'm out of commission for 3 or 4 days preparing and then getting everything set up, and then I have to be there for the whole time, right? So time is a tough one.
And do you find it actually takes more time to market or to and marketing, I consider shows and everything else. Do you feel like that takes more time, or the actual creation process?
Probably more time. I try to do something creative every day because it keeps me going. But like online marketing can really suck your time away. It's amazing how fast it can go. You look at the clock. Oh. And keeping the website updated. I haven't updated my website in probably at least 6 months. I've got to revamp it, but I haven't had time. You know, shows, carting stuff around. A day can go running around from gallery to gallery, swapping stuff out.
Yeah.
So it's hard. If I could do it full time, I'm sure it would be easier, but I don't have that luxury. I'm sure you know what it's like, right?
I do. So, you know, when I was first starting my visual art career, I still had children at home, too. And I had built a studio out in the backyard, and I would wait until they went to bed at 11 o'clock at night. And then I would go out to the studio and paint until I basically dropped, and then wake up early in the morning and go at it again. So.
Yeah. Yeah, sleep is a tough one, but it's necessary. Or you know, you get too tired and you can't tell when stuff is crappy.
Yeah.
Or you blurt out things that you really shouldn't say to people.
Yes, I mean, or you're up late and you're working on stuff and you think, you're just like trying to figure something out and you think it looks good and you're so tired and you wake up the next day and you ever look at it and think, oh boy, what was I thinking?
All the time, yes.
It just happened to me. You thought it looked so great and then you go back the next day and you're like, oh boy, good thing I didn't do anything with that.
Good thing I didn't post that one. Yeah,
I know. Oh, I have posted some and deleted them. Thought, oh my goodness. It's funny how your vision changes when you're sleep deprived. So
It is. What were you going to say, Marianne?
Oh, nothing. I've lost it. Whatever it was, it's gone.
So are your next projects that you're working on, are they going to be the same jazz theme? Are you going to continue on with that theme, or are you switching off?
I have a couple left in a series of portraits that I'm doing. I have a couple left that I haven't finished yet, so I'm going to finish those up, and then I think I'm going to go on to something else. I'm not really sure what yet, though. I'm kind of playing and trying to figure stuff out.
Is that what the one you posted with you were just messing around with textures and colors?
Yeah. Yeah. And I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm just starting to post on my blog about grids, patterns, and grids. That's really just exploration, you know. And I'm going to post everything. I'm going to post the bad stuff along with the good stuff, because I think people who are starting out and haven't been painting for a long time, they need to know that, you know, you can be painting for 20 years and still produce bad stuff. It just happens, right?
Right.
You tell the bad stuff from the good stuff, because they only see the good stuff and they think that's all there is, but it's not. You know, it's like Photoshop models, right?
Exactly, and I'm so glad that you're going to share that. Will you continue and sharing with your journal pages? Did you see any of her journal pages out on her website, Tammy?
yeah, I was looking over her blog, and I started reading her that last blog that you were saying that you shared on there, which I thought was fascinating. I really enjoyed that. So, and I want to go back in there and read more about it, because it just seems so interesting. You got a good little blog there starting too.
Thanks.
Oh, it's an awesome blog.
Oh, it is.
Don't consider myself much of a writer, but I figure I just write like I'm writing a letter to a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, that's what people can relate to, especially people like me. You know, it's simple, you understand it, and it's like you can relate. You know, we can relate to that. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and the blog that you're talking about, I purposely made sure I had your website address out in the intro. A lot of times I forget that with my guests. so they could go see this one blog post because it was all about supplies. And Tammy, I don't know if you do this. I buy art supplies like crazy.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I'm not an artist, so I don't buy art supplies, but I could relate to the story. I think, even if you're not an artist, there's people that do the same thing with their own whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody does it.
Yeah, whether you're crafting or
Right.
cooking or photography stuff.
Yeah.
And then you put it up and you say, I'm going to use it sometime later. And for
Right.
me, it's always my process is I'll use it when I have the process perfected.
Right. And there it sits 10 years later. And that's what cracked me up about it. I was like, there's not a person in America that hasn't done that. I mean, we've all did it. We all buy stuff. Well, maybe there's some, but for the most of us, we all do that.
Yeah, I think so.
I got a whole closet that you could just barely open without all the stuff coming out of it. Different art stuff, or I'm going to do this, or it's on sale, like you said on your blog. So definitely.
Yeah. Or you buy a book because it looks like it would be really inspiring, and you flip through it, but you never actually read it. And you don't do any of the exercises in it.
Yeah. I personally don't buy them because I know I'm never going to do it. It seems inspiring. I need to do it, but I'm not going to. It looks like a good plan, but I know I'm not going to follow through with it.
Well, you know yourself better than I do. I always think, yeah, this time I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I used to be that way, but now as I get older, I just realize I'm not going to do it.
You know what? I do believe, Tammy, that you are considerably younger than I am, and I still do it. So kudos. I really...
You buy the book and follow the rules, or follow it?
I buy the book and I look at it and I say, oh,
and
how
you don't do it.
You stick Post-it notes in it to remind you to get back to it.
I know. It looks great out on the table when people come to see. Yeah, I think we all are in the same boat, pretty much.
So have you been able to utilize any of the supplies that you had, Marianne?
Well, yeah. Actually, I've gone through one of those little books that I had made. I'm almost finished it, which is nice. I still have 4 more because I made a whole bunch of them thinking I would use them. And I've getting through some of the paints that I had bought and kind of put away, some stuff that it has interesting effects, but I had no real purpose for it, so I hadn't used it. So yeah, I've got a bunch of metallic stuff that I don't have a clue what I'm going to do with, but I'm going to try something. It'll look neat.
I'm sure you'll come up with something.
You never know. It could be the next masterpiece.
You never know. And things just take you off in a weird direction sometimes. You just have to sit down and do it.
They do.
Wow.
So Marianne couldn't get her lower third working. So Marianne, can you tell them how to find your website that we've been just bragging on?
My website is incolorstudio.com. So INCOLORSTUDIO studio.com. Yeah.
And you also have your artwork out on Fine Art America. Is that truth?
No, I don't have Fine Art America. I have a profile there, but I haven't actually loaded anything up there. When I do finally get around to getting my website updated, I'm going to be selling prints off the website of certain images.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have that going right now. But I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and Instagram and so.
Which is your favorite social media?
Yeah, well, different platforms seem to have different audiences. So I just try to spread myself out, and hopefully people will be able to find me.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Will you tell me?
I did. I can't even. I think your artwork just showed up on. For some reason, somebody shared it or something, and that's how I found you.
That's always nice when that happens.
Yeah. It was definitely a Google Plus connection. So, and Tammy, do you have anything new and exciting going on?
No, I haven't really. Been on a little 2-week hiatus, so with work and everything. So it's a new year, ready to kick it up, and stay tuned. That's what yeah. I'm going to be working on it for sure. Got some exciting stuff going on, but I'll let you know in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to be watching.
You never know what I'm going to be getting myself into, for sure.
Hanging off a cliff again?
I know. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Well, you never know. We'll see.
And what would have been hilarious is if your husband had taken a picture of you hanging off, taking a picture.
Oh, you want to hear this? Quick story. I tell my husband, get a picture of me hanging off the cliff, right, with the camera, and I'm holding the rope. And I said, get a picture of me. And I'm looking, I had my camera up looking this way, and you know what, and here's this huge waterfall. I mean, it's over 100 feet tall. And you know what he takes a picture of? He takes an up-close picture of me in the camera. You can't even see the waterfall or nothing. But I didn't even know until I got back in the car, and I looked at it, and I'm like, what the heck?
Oh, that's hilarious.
I know, I'm like, you're fired as a photo caddy. No, he's actually really good. So, but, yeah, that was my funny story.
Okay, well, on that note, I think we're about out of time. Marianne, is there anything you would like to add?
Nope, don't think so.
Tammy?
Well, I enjoyed meeting you, Marianne. I think your work is amazing, and for all you people out there, you need to go check her out because she's so awesome. It's going to blow your mind, her work, let me tell you. And I look forward to being your bookie. Oh, you did it! I'm fired as the sound person.
No, you're not at all.
You did it. So, anyways, that's it.
Well, it's been fun. It's been fun, and I'm sure I'll see you guys again.
Oh, definitely, I'm sure. So, everybody, Talking Art will be live again next Tuesday, and I don't know who. Oh, yes, I do. Debbie Ferrand, and if I pronounce that wrong, I am so sorry, Debbie, is going to be our guest next week.
Yay! Oh, I got to clap for her. Can't wait to see her. That's going to be fun. She's awesome.
And, yeah, I can't wait. And Marianne, thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show, for sharing all cool little paint tips. I never would have thought about getting this silicone cleaner squeegee. And your work is amazing.
Welcome.
Totally amazing.
Thanks for having me. That was really nice to meet you both.
So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.